One business owner to another, if you are drowning in work in your small business, the question is not whether you can grin and bear it. It's what can you do to change the situation? The lazy/rich person solution? Just hire, throw people at the problem. But as a savvy small business, not only do we need to be careful with our money, we need to be careful with our time. So what I'm going to share today is the approach that I've developed over the last 8 years for myself for how I decide whether I should be hiring an employee, hiring a contractor, using AI, or changing the things I'm doing to give myself more free time as a busy small business owner. First things first, if you are drowning in work, we need to get a little bit of clarity of what exactly is overwhelming you. What are the tasks? What are the actions? What are the things that are slowing you down? If you don't have an immediate answer to that, check out the link in the description. I have a free email course that takes you through how to identify the biggest bottleneck in your business. But once you do know what's stuck and what's overwhelming you, we're ready to move on to the first question of deciding how do we get unstuck, which is, would delegating this add more value than it costs? So let's break this one down. I'm talking about value here. Value means either money, energy, time, emotion, whatever is of importance to me. Is delegating this thing going to, on the whole, add more or cost me more? For example, a salesperson. If I had a salesperson who took sales calls on behalf of ProcessDriven and then closed those deals that I wouldn't have been able to close, that is absolutely adding more value than what that person is going to cost me when I start breaking it all down. But it's not always that direct. For me, when I first delegated the support inbox at ProcessDriven, I was a little nervous. I had to pay for this hourly person to go in and answer support tickets. And all I kept thinking of, oh my God, so much cost, so much cost. But a friend of mine at the time shook my shoulders virtually, and she was like, hey, what are you going to do with that extra time that you're not spending in the email inbox? And I was like, oh, well, probably filming YouTube videos and, creating offers and serving my consulting clients. And my friend was like, yeah, Layla, that's going to make you more money than the $20 an hour you have to pay this assistant. And I was like, oh, that is what we're talking about here. So I want you to think about the things that are paralyzing you and drowning you in work. If other people were doing those, would they either directly make you more value, whatever that's measured in, or allow you to make more value for the business? Yes? No? If not, congratulations, we're already done. The answer is delete that thing. Because if it is costing more than it makes, it's probably not something you should be doing. I'm looking at you, social media. And congratulations, you get to skip all the hard work. You've just gotten yourself more time back by just clicking delete. But for those who are less lucky, like most of us most of the time, we are on to our second question, which is, are you interested in pausing this action? Like, does that intrigue you at all? Could you just see what would happen if you stopped doing it to see if it actually did cause any problems? If you are even mildly interested, congratulations, you get to skip all the rest of this video and pause what you're doing. Great example of that I saw in my own business was our Facebook group. Back in the day, we ran a free Facebook group. It's still out there somewhere. And in that Facebook group, it took a lot of work to keep everyone happy and responding to all the comments. And again, social media, such a drag. And I was overwhelmed. The business had too much stuff going on, and we paused posting, activating, doing anything in our Facebook group for a few months just to see what would happen. And to our surprise, literally nothing happened. We barely even noticed it was gone, but we did find ourselves with hours of free time back in our monthly capacity. With that in mind, if you are thinking about the work that you have going on and anything is not a definitive, hell yeah, I want to keep doing that forever, I would really encourage you to try a pause. Try pausing on your office hours in your membership. Try pausing on checking social media. Try pausing on sending your newsletter. Try pausing on blah, 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 blah. Of course, don't pause on things that are breaking rules, breaking promises, breaking things that are valuable to you. But if the idea of a pause is like, I guess I could, you might as well try it because you have not a lot to lose and a whole lot to gain. And if you end up finding out that, oh wow, when we pause sending our newsletter, we do see our sales go down. Well, you've just learned something. We just did a little experiment. You can always go right back in because pausing is not an irreversible decision. It's a small adjustment that you can then go back on if you find that it's actually significant. But unfortunately, for a lot of small business owners, we find ourselves wasting hours and hours and hours doing things that we've never even proven are worth doing. I say this because I am so guilty of it, and maybe you are as well. Speaking of guilty, I think many of us are guilty of a little AI mania these days, which brings me to my third question in this lineup. If you're not interested in a pause, or you've eliminated that because you did try it, the next question I want you to ask is, this thing that's bothering me, can AI or an automation or technology in some way do it automatically? So that way, yes, it still needs to be done, but it's significantly faster. If you are not such a tech-loving person, it's really easy to just assume, there's no way it can do that. But it may be worth asking. Things are evolving super fast these days. And before you just shut the door, at least explore it a little bit. The only caveat I will say about this exploring piece is if you are someone I lovingly refer to as a tinkerer. I can certainly be one. A tinkerer is someone who kind of gets obsessed with a problem and starts digging and digging and digging and digging until they maybe find an answer or they just run out of stamina for the day. If this is you, I want you to keep in mind any of this experimentation is intended to be quick. You're going through this journey because you don't have a lot of time. So let's not waste time going through the journey. When it comes to AI or automation, my rule of thumb is 2 months. If I can get my time back that I'm spending within 2 months, it's worth working on it. But if I'm going to spend 10 hours building an automation that saves me 5 minutes once a year, that's not really a great return for me, and I won't bother, and I'm just going to continue on my way. But let's imagine you had better luck, and when you asked AI, for example, if I can automate this thing, it says, hell yeah, of course you can. Well, in that case, I have a question to ask you. Are you terrified of technology? Not AI, because we're all kind of terrified of that. But are you scared to go in and set everything up? If you are, then hang with me for the rest of this video. We're going to talk about human delegation that could use the technology for you. But if you are not afraid of technology, congratulations! You get to skip the rest of this video and you get to go right ahead and build out that AI or automation device of choice. Just keep in mind that 2-month rule. So don't spend 10 hours to automate something that's only going to save you 5 minutes a year. We want to make sure you're getting a return on your time within a 2-month period. Now, I'm realizing at this point in the video, I am doing a terrible job as someone who creates YouTube videos because we're supposed to say, keep watching, and I just keep telling you to stop watching. Yeah. Okay, share this with a friend to help me make up for the fact that I'm telling everybody to stop watching this video in the middle. Thank you. Okay, if you are still with me, it is time for our next question, which is asking, does this kind of work come up consistently? So when I'm thinking about support tickets for my business, yes, they happen consistently. I may not be able to predict when a support ticket is going to come in, but I guarantee you, for as long as humans exist, someone is going to be emailing you to say, hey, how do I reset my password? And then you'll have to say, hey, click the reset your password button right there on the page that you were just looking at. All that to say, if you are someone who says no to this question and you realize you have work, but it's not consistent, but it does meet all of our other criteria, congratulations, you also get to stop watching this video because you are in a great position to hire a contractor. Contractor, freelancer, subcontractor, vendor, whatever language would you want to use, you are in a position where the work you're challenged with sounds like it would be best suited to some fractional help. Someone who can come in on a per project basis, perhaps, to just come take some of the work off of your shoulders now that you know delegating it is going to get you more than it costs you. Hiring the right freelance talent is a whole job in and of itself. People really overcomplicate it. I remember watching some of the videos here on YouTube and I've made so many early mistakes hiring myself. And I was like, what the hell? I feel like we all make it way harder than it needs to be. So probably in a follow-up video, I'll share how I go about hiring freelancers. If you would find that helpful, just write the word freelancer in the comments below and I'll post that follow-up video. Subscribe and you'll also get notified when that comes out. But you are good to go if this is you. See you in the next video. Now, for the rest of you unlucky souls who are still here watching me after all this time, our final question is this best described as renting a professional's expertise or hiring a vendor? Are either of those true? If yes, then you are also in the same camp that I talked about before. You are in a great position to hire a contractor who can just lend you their expertise, usually for a slightly higher price, but you don't have to buy it. You're renting that knowledge, experience, know-how, and project management. Simple example of this, here at ProcessDriven, we are hosting our first conference for small business operations in Philadelphia this fall. We need food for this event, and it is an ongoing need throughout the entire event. And when going through this criteria, I'd reached this point where I'm at this question. And do I want to hire a chef to be on my team, or do I need a vendor who supplies food? Pretty simple. I needed a vendor. And that is how we're going to have delicious food for Ops Ahoy this year. In your business, this can be a little bit murky, especially now in the US for some reason, and I guess really globally here. There is a lot of misclassification around employees versus contractors. People are saying my team, and they're referring to contractors. They're treating contractors like employees openly and loudly, especially in the online business world, which is scary. I would not recommend that. Consult your experts, your local rules, all those other things. But if renting expertise or any of the examples I gave here don't feel quite right, you are probably in hiring an employee land, and that's how I would approach this delegation. You are probably in the right position to add an employee role as long as cash flow supports it. Now, if you realize that you need to hire an employee, well, that probably means you need a method of how to find the right employee candidate. And I have a video for that right up here where you can go through the proven process used by the Hermosis to make sure that they're always hiring the right people. But wait a second, there's one more problem. Once you have contractors or AI or any of this stuff, you need to tell it what to do. Oh God. And you don't have time. You're busy. So how do we make sure that these AI or these people know what matters and know how to do it in the right way? Do we need to spend hours and years writing all the SOPs and creating Loom videos and making sure everything's written down? Nope. Some of that stuff might be helpful, but most of it is overkill. Watch this video for the method that actually works. Thanks for watching and enjoy the process.